Welcome everyone to Sunday Fun Day Holistic Health Talk, including exercise, nutrition, healthy living, of course, and sports talk, which includes pro wrestling. Now I'm going to bring on, hold on. I'm going to bring on my co-host, Mr. Jeff Zambello. I see an apparition in the background. Is it a shadow person? I see a dark shadow, an apparition. Is that the evangelist, Mikey Zambello, the Reverend Doctor Mikey Zambello, or am I wrong? Am I wrong? It is the Reverend Doctor Mikey Zambello. I can't hear you, by the way. You're
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I hear you. Yeah, the Reverend Dr. Mikey Zambello, evangelist of the Maritime Provinces. How are you, sir? Are you going to church to give your sermon today?
Oh, yes. Are you one of the bosses of the church?
Oh, yes.
He's one of the.
All right. Oh, show James your badge.
He's the archbishop.
Yeah, he's the usher of the church.
Usher? You mean the House of Usher with Vincent Price?
See, look at there you go.
The House of Usher. I thought he was an archbishop by now. All right. That's all right. You'll become very. Hold on, Mikey. Remember the garbage man, the hoarder that luckily he had room for himself in the car. It was packed with shit. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was awesome.
And I sang the Sanford and Son theme song. But anyway, thank you, Jeff Zambello. So what's going on in the world of your Akara this past week?
Lots of training. Lots of I got a few more implements every week. I buy something else. So I have the landmine, and
take
a landmine training.
Take a photo when you get a chance. I'd like to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'll bring the computer down after.
Yeah, or post it on the Palavon group. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So everybody can see what the landmine is. Because your Akara is growing fantastically. I know that you're going to get to the point where actually you'll have enough this spring when the weather warms up to bring your equipment out in the backyard.
Yeah, the backyard.
Out in the back. Yeah.
And then I started training with some heavy sandbags. They go from there's a 75-pound sandbag, 100-pound sandbag, 125-pound sandbag, and 150-pound sandbag.
Now you gave me an idea. When the weather gets nice, and you can move your car to the backyard and have your disciples show up, if you want, you can get a wheelbarrow and put all loaded up with a lot of weight and have them wheelbarrow from one corner of your backyard to the other corner and back again without stopping.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. So let me I got do my mirror thing here. Hold on a second.
Because I guess that's like that's like what do you call it? Like the farmers walk.
It's exactly like the farmer's walk.
Yeah, wheelbarrow, farmers walk. You know, the forearms, the grip, it'll all be on fire.
Yep.
You know, you improvise. You know, I mean, so you don't have a tree with a gorilla rope hanging, so they climb the rope. So you do other things. You do other things: the wheelbarrow, the this, the that, the landmine, the swinging. I tell you one thing. I gotta salute Mr. Pratye Singh. He's come a long way with his company manufacturing gadas and wooden gadas and clubs, all different kinds of clubs. And I'm interested in the chubby club that looks like a
I
pop.
like that one.
Yeah, it originated from southern India, and it's very unique and fascinating looking. It's like it's cute, you know, the shape, you know, a little chubby, fat club.
But I'd be interested in the physics of it and the torque aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I would like to just swing it because I think the weight would be wonderful because there wouldn't be as much of a lever. So therefore the torque would be reduced and you could actually focus on the weight in a much safer way.
Well, it might just be different. It might not necessarily be easier than the other clubs and the mace.
It'll be different. That's what I want to see.
It'll be different because when I used to have a short stubby pickle barrel shaped club. I sold it though, and I did it. It was 20 pounds, and I did it. I can only do it with one hand, but I did it one handed, and it had a different feel than the long the eggplants I have, the long jewelry type clubs. It had a different feel in the swing. So that chubby club, potbelly club, might be just different.
I think it'll be awesome.
You know, and it's also meant to be used with one hand. It's not meant to be used with two hands. It's a one-handed thing. So you can swing and then go around in a circle and swing and go around in a circle and behind the back, you know, and you can do swipes. They call this swipes.
But I'm kind of skeptical in that. Oh, Michael, plug my computer in because the battery's low, Michael. Plug the computer in. You got to keep it plugged in, Michael. Okay. So anyway, I'd be kind of skeptical that I don't know if it'd go around Dean's belly. So that might be a big obstacle without mentioning last names. The person who moved to California.
It might hit somebody's fat belly sticking out, you mean?
Yeah.
Belly?
Yeah. The fitness, the person who spent more money on seminars than anybody in history.
Oh, you mean the one that smells like pickled herring from Scandinavia?
Yeah, there you go.
That came up with her own crazy way of swinging Indian clubs. She invented her own stupid.
Whacking herself in the head.
The dumbest thing I've ever seen. And this
she whacked in the head more than Joe Palooka.
You know, this is.
Do you remember Joe Palooka?
Joe Palooka. You know, this is the mentality of the.
That's the boxer who kept getting hit in the head. And
Oh, it was a real person, Joe Palooka.
yeah, it was a real person. And he just got dumber and dumber because kept getting hit too much in
Oh,
the
he was
head.
punchy. He was punch drunk.
He was punchy. That's it. Joe
You
Palooka.
talk like this.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I just thought it was like, I thought it was a made up fictitious character, but it was a
Nope.
real guy named Joe Palooka.
Joe Palooka.
But this is
Dina Palooka
Dina Palooka
with the friggin' Indian clubs.
is has the typical feminist, independent feminist mentality where they don't like to follow anybody's rules. They don't take advice from any man, but they'll listen to another woman.
Exactly. And spend big money.
Yeah, well, in that case, her
So.
husband's money. But the thing is that Protye, I was talking to him. I says, "Man, you got some really fantastic wood turners working for you. Yeah, I mean the Persian meals are exactly the way they're supposed to look like. The jories, you see the beautiful wood grain, the wood grain
Yeah.
on his."
From a single piece of wood.
Yeah, solid, yeah. And he told me he has no problem shipping internationally. He's doing great. And I told him, I says, I wish him all luck in the world. I mean, there's nothing like the gripping feel of wood. I don't care what steel, mace, I don't care what people invent with a steel handle.
Wood is the best.
As far as the feel of the grip, the gripping ability, wood is the best.
Well, think about it. Even in baseball, a baseball player can grab a wooden bat by its handle, but with a damn aluminum bat, they got to put like a soft rubber handle so it can be gripped.
Yeah, aluminum bat. They have to put it like a neoprene rubber around the handle. And actually, well, baseball bats, I think they're made of either ash or I'm not sure what they're made out of. Like the Louisville Slugger from Louisville, Kentucky. They
is that made with maple?
Not sure, but I know. You ever see when the batters warm up with this donut weight that they put on the end? If I was their trainer, I would have them put the donut weight, and I would teach them Indian club swinging with the baseball.
Exactly.
They could use a pair of the heaviest baseball bats with those donut weights on the end and do Persian and do meal swings, traditional swings, swipes, circular motion. I mean, to loosen up.
I saw it last year during one of the games. I don't know if it was the Red Sox or the Yankees, but one of the players, it'll come to my mind, had a wooden club, and they were doing different things behind, and while they were on the deck, and then then they laid that club down right in the batters at the batter's box.
Can you imagine what benefit that would be for pitchers, for all pitchers in baseball? To help prevent injury. Help prevent rotator cuff injuries and tendinitises and all that stuff. I mean, especially guys that throw fastballs that are close to 100 miles an hour now, swinging the clubs.
I'm sure they use clubs. They have to, because it's not like it's new. I'm sure in the clubhouse or in their gym, the baseball club's gym,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the trainers teach these guys about clubs.
I don't know, because it's still in mainstream fitness. Most people don't know. I mean, you mention Indian clubs and they'll say, "Oh, that's like back in the day, old fashioned." like they,
Yeah, but it's 3,000 years old. It's
yeah,
proven to work.
I know there's a rehab exercise where you put your arm flush against your torso, and
Yes.
and you can use a band or you can use a cable on a machine, and
Yep.
do this, and then uh but you gotta, if there's an injury, you can't do high repetition moves until the injury heals, because then you'll get like a carpal tunnel syndrome type of, repetitive high with high volume swings or high volume. So like, I wouldn't go, if somebody has an injury, I wouldn't go to failure with the swinging.
Exactly.
I wouldn't go to failure.
You get tendonitis.
I don't even think circular training was really meant to go to failure. To be honest, I mean, you can.
No, I only go to failure when I'm competing in the games. That's why I do sets of 20 and sets of 30 at
Yeah,
the most.
like
I do multiple sets of 20 and
yeah.
30 throughout the
Well,
workout.
you do, of course, with weight training, it's why it's good to go to failure. But but going to failure is very important. But you have to maintain perfect form.
Mhm.
Perfect form is the pinnacle, is the most important factor. Is because without perfect form, you lose that mind muscle connection with time under tension, where you feel the muscle being worked. You get the pump, and it's being worked because you're isolating it, instead of like cheating, like some of these guys swing their body when they do curls, you know
Yep.
and they're supposed to keep their upper arms flush and stationary, up against the side of your torso,
That's
and
right.
just move
And they're emphasizing that now, and it gets the bicep in a much different
and
way.
just move the forearms, like even
Yes,
even
exactly.
hammer curls or reverse curls, forearms are the only thing that's supposed to be moving, and you come down slow. You come down like a minimum of 4 seconds or more. You don't drop. You don't. You see some of these guys doing really fast reps. I mean,
And they still got small arms.
yeah. I mean, you really,
I'll tell you one of the curls that I do. I wish it was up a boy today, but I take my
yeah,
kettlebells and I grab it by the
yeah.
handle, and so the kettlebell's straight out, and I do curls like that for my grip without the ball dropping. It's gonna stay straight.
Oh,
It's unbelievable on your forearms. You feel it all through your forearm.
well, because
It's beautiful.
well, you would use lighter kettlebells,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
what you're doing is
10 pounds and 15 pounds at the
you're
most.
adding you're adding the torque of keeping,
Yeah.
because the kettlebell weight is here and the
Yep.
handle is here. So it's, you know what? It's like a leverage curl.
Exactly.
It's like we were talking about your friend, the boxer, about doing punches with the Indian club sideways, because it becomes a leverage exercise with the Indian club going sideways. So you have the weight away from the hand. So now you have to really squeeze, and there's more resistance because it's a leverage movement.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for what you're doing with those kettlebells. A person can use 3 or 5 pound dumbbells. A person can use really light kettlebells to, uh, a boxer can. It doesn't matter, or an Indian club, and do upper,
There's so much that we do.
jab,
There's so many tools.
jab with resistance, jab, 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 jab. or like the
Well, we take just to even strengthen the wrist. We take 4 pound hammers and we go, "Rah, rah,
oh
rah," and they're hard. It's hard to do. You got to use your scapula on your back to pull your elbows down, and then it gets your grip. It just there's so much to do your
oh
grip.
yeah,
It's amazing.
those light hammers that are shaped like a sledge, but they're small.
Yep,
I don't know what
exactly.
they call them. It looks like a mini sledge.
Yeah, I wish you could come to my house. I got 2 floors of training tools here.
Oh, I hope you saved your maul sledgehammer, your fence post maul
Yep.
with the hickory handle.
Yeah, the one that costs like $30 plus
Yeah,
tax.
now they want like $80 in the United States for the same thing. You believe that crap? And yeah, it's an iron. I think it's an iron square block
Yep.
of weight.
Round or square.
It's squared. Well, it could be.
Square, but it's not a block. It's a round block.
It's like it's more of a mallet shape, right?
It's a big mallet. That's what it is. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, and
It's like a mini. It's like a bowling ball, but squarish round.
yeah.
I
And
don't know if that makes
a
sense.
person could use them instead of a pair of meals or jewelries. Person can use those clubs. I'm sorry, those fence post hammers. You can swing anything that has torque. You know, that
Yep.
weight on the end.
Damn right.
I mean, if somebody was
I mean, if I took a street sign out of the ground, it would have concrete on the end.
yeah,
And if I had a saw that could cut through steel, I could actually just go. I could go right to the corner of your street, take out the stop sign or whatever. If it was if it was on a steel
well, if it was round, yeah.
pole, yeah, get a saw, cut the metal because it'd be in concrete underneath the ground, and I could swing that goddamn thing before the cops came and arrested me.
Now another idea.
And then I could hit the cops with it.
Now another idea that I came up with for po folk, poor people, is if you can't afford to buy any Indian clubs, and what they can do is they can get a couple wine bottles that are more long shape, and then when you finish the wine, rinse it out good, and then let it dry. Fill it with sand. Could be play sand, it could be concrete, masonry sand, doesn't matter. Fill it with sand or pebbles or whatever. Or if you have access, buckshot, fill it and then stick the cork back in there and put maybe duct tape around the handle so the gripping is a little better. Duct tape the handle of the wine bottle.
What about a nice long neck Hennessy's whiskey bottle?
There are bottles like that with a
Well, a nice whiskey bottle would have a long neck.
it would have to be a long neck a glass bottle. Yeah, long neck.
Yeah. And you could buy most of the time we see this regular whiskey bottles, but they have some huge whiskey bottles.
Well, I've seen more long-handled wine bottles and liqueur.
Yeah.
Oh, he's leaving for the church?
Yeah, he's going. Yeah, he's got a 6 o'clock service there.
Oh,
We're an hour ahead of
oh,
you.
that's right.
So-
You're home because I don't see the curtains in the back. That's not the office.
Yeah. Yeah, I took a day off today.
Yeah, my
I got my year end behind me.
How
My fiscal year end reporting.
how much longer do you have before you get your pension, your Canadian pension?
62, so about 3 years.
You have 3 more years?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, how's your blood pressure been? I remember when you
Excellent.
had an issue one time.
No, I had a heart not EKG, whatever they take the pictures of your heart and
Echo,
movement.
echocardia.
Echo, there you go. And so that went well. I had a doctor's appointment this week. He said all the walls to my heart are strong.
Yeah, that's because of your fitness.
Yeah, that's what he said. And that, yeah, so
Well, your stroke volume, which means instead of the heart going ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, yours like ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. That means stroke.
and all the walls are equal. He doesn't hear different sounds on different walls of my heart.
That's good. That's very good. And your nutrition and fiber consumption is excellent. And yeah. So anyway, that's a good idea for poor people that can't buy Indian clubs. You can do that. Um, how was did you go to the Turkish place for lunch today?
Not today. I went yesterday. It's one of the first Sundays I haven't gone, but we had some extra food. We had some chicken parmesan, homemade, and then I had some rice with broccoli mixed in with it. Some wild rice with broccoli that my wife put in, mixed it in with the rice, and it was delicious. And I put some Frank's hot sauce.
Oh, Frank's hot sauce. Okay.
Yeah,
There's so many good.
and the only ingredients to Frank's is vinegar and cayenne pepper.
That's it.
That's it.
No preservatives or nothing.
No preservatives. I was
That's
shocked.
what I get the Louisiana's finest or Louisiana's the one I get from is very popular with people from southern Louisiana. And it's
Yep.
got a little the French lily on the label, the fleur de lis they call it.
Mm.
It's got the French lily, and it says it's called Louisiana something or other. I've been using that, and I get the big bottle of it, and like you said, very simple, basic ingredients, and cayenne peppers. Especially the hot sauce, which is it's an aged extract
Yep.
of a tink. It's like a tincture of an herb of the pepper. It's very very medicinal and good.
It's medicinal. It's one of the best things for your
It's
heart.
great for the cardiovascular system. Excellent. And it's also very high in natural beta carotene and vitamin C.
The only thing about the cayenne pepper is the next morning when you take a shit. Oh my God.
Boy, you feel a little bit of burning.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, but it's really it's not only great for the circulation, for the cardio vascular. It's an excellent source. There's more vitamin C than citrus fruit, and that's when a pepper turns color. Like when a pepper goes from green to orange to red. By time it gets to red, the vitamin A and vitamin C content skyrockets.
Hmm.
Nature is funny. Like, you've heard of bean sprouts, right?
Yep.
When I used to go
Yeah,
when I
bean
used to go to
sprouts.
the Korean market, they had big bags of soybean and mung bean sprouts. Now the soybean sprouts, of course, were more nutritious than the mung bean. But when you sprout the bean, when it goes from bean to sprout, all of a sudden it becomes high in vitamin C.
Mhm.
That's why the sprouts have like a little bit of a tang to it, like a citrusy flavor. The vitamin C just comes out of nowhere. Where the
There's nothing like bean sprouts on a sandwich, like a marble
Yeah.
rye ham, Munster cheese, a nice Dijon mustard, and the bean sprouts. My gosh,
Oh,
the bean sprouts make all the difference in
yeah,
the
forget
world.
about the damn lettuce. The bean sprouts is the way to go.
Yeah, it's delicious.
And it's great in any salad
Yep.
and also in stir fries.
Yes.
You
My favorite thing in stir fries is the water chestnut.
I love water chestnut. I stir fry a combination of bok choy, which is
Mm.
in the cabbage family. You can't go
Yep.
wrong with
Love bok
the
choy.
cabbage family. Is like the most nutritious vegetable.
It's most nutritious.
I mean,
It has protein. It's vegetarian protein.
and among many other nutrients, and broccoli, bok choy, um, and if you have water chestnuts, I love the crunch of the water chestnut. Yeah,
Yes.
and
But I love it. I just love the taste
yeah,
of
and
them.
the flavor.
Yum.
And what else? Well, whatever I have handy.
I always put like nice chopped carrots, chopped celery, chopped green onions, scallions.
Yeah. Oh, green onion, and I like to. I always peel the carrot because I don't want that dirty, dingy looking skin. I
Exactly.
peel the
Ugh.
carrots, and then I use the this Asian style peeler that I got from the Dollar Zone by the Royal Hibachi. It peels so much better than the Farberware one that I had, the American one. I mean, it's like it peels like it was butter, like see, because I peel the big Idaho potatoes. I always peel the potatoes now because the skin is high in toxic lectin.
Lectins.
And
You sound like Ron Popeil.
Ron Popeil, he, yeah, the pocket fisherman, and that. What about the spray? For bald people, he had this spray. My sister and Jerry made the mistake of getting his Showtime rotisserie grill,
Oh
and
yeah.
it set off all the fire alarms. The whole house was smoke.
Oh.
It was smoking the whole house. And then they show him
Smoke on the river. Ba-bum, bum,
smoke
boom,
on the
bum.
water. Smoke on the water.
Dun, 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 dun.
Smoke on the water. That's an old one. Yeah, it smoked up the house. Remember when Ron Popeil whacked the Showtime grill with a hammer? I bet that was a plastic hammer.
Hmm.
Knowing how the infomercial people are, I bet that was a plastic hammer. But I don't know. May he rest in peace. Uh, that was him, and
He did make a nice contribution to the American way of life.
yeah,
Um, yep.
Billy Mays died too. Remember Billy,
Yeah, Billy Mays. Yeah.
the guy with the beard? He banged out a lot of infomercials, and
Yes.
you know,
OxyClean.
well, that guy, the what the hell you call that?
And then there's Billy
The
Sullivan.
Flex Seal.
Oh, that
Let me
guy.
tell you something about Flex Seal. The Flex Seal tape does not work underwater. It comes off.
Oh.
Like they show where they saw the boat, the boat in
Yeah.
half, and you know, maybe it's the epoxy, the liquid rubber Flex Seal that they they sealed it with. But I did use their silicone. And
Yep.
that's pretty damn good. It comes in like the caulking you put on windows. One of those
Yep.
bottles with the rubber tip sticking out. Yeah, the silicone works great, very strong. But anyway, I digress. So what I've been using my Ninja blender. Uh, I would put the brewer's yeast, milk, um, and if I have any handy, I like to get the hemp. protein powder.
Yes.
There's a company on that I found on Amazon called Anthony's brand, and it has more grams than the Bob's Red Mill. It's higher in protein, and hemp is. I really wish hemp becomes mass produced all over the world because
It does. We have something called the bulk barn, and you could go just get a scoop and you put it in a bag, a plastic bag, and you bring it home. They weigh it and everything. Oh
well,
yeah.
Canada probably has hemp seeds at a very reasonable price compared to
Yes.
hemp. I'm telling you, definitely incorporate hemp into your cereals and your snacks, and hemp seeds are high in omega 3s, and it's just great. And then I put frozen banana. I get the bananas freeze very well, and I like them green because they're actually better for your gut microbiome. When
Hmm.
they're green, it's like number one food for the gut flora microbiome.
Hmm.
So even if it's like half yellow and half green, it's okay. So I peel them, put them in a freezer bag, Ziploc, and I got the bananas in the freezer. You don't have to worry about bananas getting rotten and throwing them away. Goes right in the freezer. And also, I found that tofu can be frozen very well. I
Hmm.
didn't know that because tofu doesn't last a long time in the refrigerator. Like,
I love tofu in the stir fry
oh, tofu is great. I got
with peanut butter
they had
or peanuts.
peanut sauce. Peanut stir fried peanuts. Yeah, they
Yeah,
had
with the
they
tofu.
had a sale
Mm.
on organic extra firm tofu, so I got like three big packages. I sliced each one in half because it wasn't sliced; it was just big blocks. So I
Yep.
sliced it long ways in half, and
And it comes in the water.
yeah, you have to drain
You gotta
you
peel it.
have to drain the water out if you're gonna freeze
Yep.
it. If you're gonna freeze it, and according to the internet, tofu freezes very well. Because it's perishable. If it's in a refrigerator, after a week it starts to get slimy.
Mm.
So it freezes well, but not everything freezes well. You cannot put milk, buttermilk, sour cream, cottage cheese, and ricotta. You cannot
Mm.
you cannot freeze any soft or liquid dairy product. Forget it. It can't be done. You have to keep it in the refrigerator and hopefully use it before it gets moldy. But cheese can be frozen, like hard cheeses. Mozzarella can be frozen. Provolone, any kind of cheeses that is not liquidy, like cottage cheese, farmer's cheese, ricotta. It's considered like a liquidy cheese. Um, uh, it curdles, like it separates. Like the liquid separates from. It gets really weird, and it doesn't have the same flavor. When I made an omelet, I made an Italian omelet instead of eggs ranchero. I put I had some tomato sauce. I put and hot sauce, and I put the ricotta cheese in the scrambled eggs, and the melted ricotta cheese with the eggs made a really tasty omelet.
Mm.
You know,
I like the Greek feta cheese with my
that's my
eggs,
favorite.
and then with tomato.
I love feta cheese. Oh man, I think I think feta is made throughout the entire Mediterranean, Eastern Mediterranean, Greece, Turkey, um, the Middle Eastern countries that border the Mediterranean.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes if I'm not doing cheese, Mexican cheese, ricotta, feta. I'll put like extra virgin olive oil in the eggs, and I don't even beat the eggs with a fork or chopstick. I put it in a jar. You know, I save the jar that the Parmesan cheese comes in, and I put the eggs in there, put all the seasoning in there, and just shake it up, and
Mm.
the eggs becomes
Wait a minute. You got your own shake weight?
yeah.
You should give a seminar on that.
You mean making scrambled eggs in a jar?
The Greek omelet shake weight.
Yeah, it's you know, when the yolks start ricocheting inside the jar, they bust, and then you don't have to beat it with a whisk or or a chopstick or a fork. You just shake the jar vigorously, and then it becomes liquid. You know,
So where's Jordy? Where's
I sent him
Jordy?
the
And
link. He says last night he was on the show. He says he wants to come on the show today.
yeah.
Ronnie Simpson said he wants to come on the show. Where the hell are they?
Well, Sundays can be tough.
Uh, you mean like for the average folks? For the average folks, they can be tough. You don't forget that Ronnie Simpson. He's got a wife at home. Maybe she's saying, I want to do something. I want to do something on it. It's Sunday. You're
Yeah,
gonna be going on a show.
that's what happens. Yep, Sundays are
You know,
tough.
she might say, "Hey, you was on the show with them last night with the guys. You want to go on the show again?"
I remember the poor guy from Mississippi who was henpecked.
Yeah, henpecked, nagged constantly.
Yeah, who was that fellow from Mississippi?
Well, I know the guy from Seattle, Washington, that used to do shows with me, and he got mad at me because I said something about, his wife always like uh, intercepting and stopping him from doing shows, and like her husband has to be up her ass 24/7. And then there was the guy in Tennessee. They used to do shows with me.
Yeah, that was the
Gary,
guy. He was a little
Gary,
heavy set, right?
Gary Owens. His wife. His
Yeah.
wife would be yapping with her southern accent, yelling. And
And I think his mother-in-law was in the background too, or something like that.
oh, his
Sometimes.
mother-in-law was nosy, and she had to stick her ugly fat face in front of the camera. I can't.
That poor
I
guy.
can't do shows that look way below.
Yeah, the red pill shows do not mix well with that.
Well, I like I try to have my shows look professional. To have some idiot wife and mother-in-law be screaming with a hillbillyish southern drawl, and have the mother-in-law stick her fat ugly face in front of the camera.
You know what I used to like on the backdrop? You used to have a theater mask. Remember on your red curtain, the theater mask?
Yeah, I still got them.
Oh,
Yeah, they're down here. Yeah.
but why aren't they on the right behind your head?
Well, they're
Because I like that.
they're part of certain characters that are played. I'll tell you off the air.
What, like yin and yang?
Oh, you know what I like? The theater mask where one is smiling and one is frowning.
Yeah, I used to love that backdrop.
Yeah, the mask.
Remember the backdrop on Seinfeld with the Merv Griffin show?
Kramer found it in a dumpster.
Yeah,
It was the old set to the Merv.
the old
When
set.
Merv Griffin used to be in New York, and he said, and then Jim Fowler Jim Fowler says, "Oh, here he is." Not Jim Fowler, is Ronnie Simpson. Jim,
Oh, good.
hey, Ronnie Simpson.
Oh, good. He's a New York Yankees fan too.
Well, he likes the Mets. That's the Mets logo.
Oh, New York, yeah. Oh, New York Mets. Okay,
Yeah,
that's right. Because he's from Long Island.
yeah. I'm not really a National League fan per se, but oh yeah, Jim Fowler says, "Where's the cameras?" Kramer had a make-believe audience and cameras, so he would have guests and he would act like it's a real show.
So how you guys
Anyway,
doing?
Great show.
you look like you have a lovely day down there in Clearwater,
Yeah,
Florida,
it's
Ronnie.
beautiful, beautiful today, man. I just came back from the pool.
Oh, so the temperature is probably close to swimming.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's still a little chilly, but I'll give it like a week or two. Should be fine.
You bring a cooler down by the pool with refreshments and beers or something, or
Yeah, I didn't today, but yeah, I can.
yeah, you can get those in the dollar store. They sell those blue things that you put in the freezer,
Yeah.
and then you just load it up
Mhm.
and drink.
Yeah.
You know,
It's actually pretty humid right now, man.
it's humid.
Oh boy.
Are there tables with umbrellas?
Yeah, they have all that stuff. Yeah, I was sitting in the shade.
Yeah, because there's no. You bring your own private tiki bar in the cooler.
Yeah, that's what people do.
You
And
bring
you,
food. You
you
bring
converse, you make,
beers.
talk to people.
Are there anybody? Is there anybody like normal and smart that congregate around the pool, or are they
There
all
are.
like
No,
hill
no,
hicks?
it's a lot of different crowds, different types of people.
Are they usually living around there? Are they a lot of them from different parts of the country, or are they native Floridians?
No. Basically, nobody would be native Floridian.
Okay, except maybe the Panhandle when you go way north in Florida.
Well, I think it is here. There's native Floridians that like if you go buy a house in that neighborhood around, but as far as being in like an apartment complex, nah, not really.
Near the coast, near the beach. They're all transplanted.
For the most,
Transplanted.
yeah, for the most part, but especially in an apartment complex.
Yeah, that's kind of nice though, because then you have a lot in common with each other.
Yeah, you get to talk to people about different states and shit.
Yeah, I ran into when I was in Marco Island and Naples, Florida. I ran into people from like Cincinnati, from Ohio, from I
There's a
mean, I
lot of
ran
people from the Midwest here too, this area.
the Midwest.
Hmm.
They have some tough winters out there.
Yeah, the Great Lakes areas.
Yeah, they come to Florida and they got nice weather.
Hmm.
And they don't
And
miss
they love it.
they don't miss the winters anymore.
Like the winter on Long Island, it's chilly, it's cold, but nothing compared to what these people get in like Illinois, in Indiana,
All those states out there,
Michigan, Minnesota.
they get heavy. They
They
get
get heavy snow. Yeah,
they get heavy snowfall compared to what we get in the Northeast.
yeah,
We used to get when weather was normal. We used to get nor'easters, blizzards.
yeah. I remember. I know.
And you remember, and Jeff remembers even more the,
Hmm.
the winters of the past with the nor'easters.
Hurricane Sandy was supposed to be a nor'easter, right? That's what they classified it as.
Well, if Hurricane Sandy took place in January or February,
Yeah.
it would be a lot of snow.
It happened around Halloween, right?
Yeah, well, hurricane season kind of diminishes in
After October, right?
after October.
Yeah. Down here, they say it's from June through November, but you don't really get anything in November.
June.
Yeah, June it
Really?
starts. Hmm.
Oh, I didn't.
But that's like so when it first starts, you're not going to get anything serious. It gets September. It's like the month where you get the most activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It builds up to September.
the storms start forming out on the Atlantic because
Yeah.
because at that time of year the wind blows the hot air from the Sahara Desert west, and as the hot air goes over the Atlantic, it meets cold air,
Hmm.
and then that's how they start.
Yeah, it starts off the
Mm.
coast of Africa most of the
Yeah,
time.
and if the water is warm, they the cyclone the storm goes
They get
faster,
stronger. Yeah,
faster, faster,
and the
and they get
waters have been warmer the past few years,
yeah,
like around the Gulf.
yeah.
So, like this past one, there was one hurricane that just came through. I think it was in October of this past year. That was Idalia, it was called, and that hit. That went a little north of here, but we got some effect from it, and it got stronger because of the Gulf waters. The Gulf temperature was warm, so that gives it strength.
Well, you didn't get bombarded
With the big one in
Bi-
22,
like they anticipated you were going to get really
no,
hammered, but you
that
guys,
one hit Fort Myers, south of here. But it was a trajectory. It was supposed to actually hit Clearwater like head on, and they were saying that almost up until the time that it hit, just maybe like 12 hours or so before. That's when they started saying it's shifting southward, and then it eventually hit Fort Myers and destroyed Fort Myers.
Hmm.
And
wow.
they're still rebuilding down there now. That was a big hurricane, and we got barely anything out of it.
Now if it went across the
Yeah, it
Florida
went across.
Peninsula, it would lose strength over land.
Well, it did do that. That's what
Well,
it did, and it actually went up to Orlando.
well, actually, I take that back. If it went over the Everglades, that's still warm water.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not necessarily lose that much strength.
No, I wouldn't think so.
You know,
But
it's
that's
like
basically what it did. That's what it did. Is it came
yeah,
in through like Fort Myers on the west coast, and then it went up. It came inland, and then went up, and it eventually hit the Orlando area. Orlando got more effect than we got here in Tampa.
hmm,
And there was people in this area who evacuated to Orlando because they didn't want to get hit here, and then they ended up getting some effects of it over there. When if you just stayed put here, you would have been fine.
oh, okay. Um, I'm just taking a
Hurricane
peek.
talk.
Yeah, it's like a pinball machine. You can't predict what they're
Yeah, you
gonna
can't.
do.
And I find it interesting. I mean, I'm not a homeowner, so I'm not paying astronomical homeowners insurance and worrying about my property.
Yeah.
So
I really highly doubt if Elon Musk's new modular homes for $10,000 are hurricane resistant. I mean, just picture it. You have these fireproof panels that are assembled, slapped together in 2 days into a home, a modern home, nice looking. You got it comes with solar panels and a device to catch rainwater. Lovely, nice. But Mother Nature, when it comes to hurricanes, I just can't see a modular home resisting
what is he
a
selling those around the country?
yeah. Yeah, and then he says, "Oh, you can. It's easy to like just have your home disassembled and tow it if you want to move somewhere else." Yeah, you can't have regular moving company come and expect
Disassemble
them
it.
to disassemble. You have to have
Yeah,
special people that know how to do that.
unless you get trained on how to do it yourself.
Disassemble your house. I
I
mean,
mean, a mobile home that's a whole nother thing.
they look nice. It's a basic square or rectangle, which
Yeah.
is fine. They're they're modern. It's nice that they're fireproof. The walls, the panels.
Mm.
Um,
But
solar panels. It depends where you live. Really, it depends. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Southern California, Florida, the deep South, it would turn out beneficial to have solar panels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Solar panels are very popular in Florida
yeah,
for
well,
obvious reasons.
for obvious reasons. Over here, all the street lamps have solar panels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Jersey, huh?
Yeah. Did you know? They showed a map of the Sahara Desert. They showed a tiny, tiny fraction of the Sahara Desert. If that was a solar farm with panels, just a little tiny fraction, it could supply enough electricity for most of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't really take a lot. Like let's take like in Nevada, you got miles of flat Mojave, and then another desert is there too. It's like flat land. You have Death Valley, California, where there's like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are certain areas that would really benefit from solar farms. And there's hydroelectrics. Hydroelectric. I don't. The Great Falls in Paterson, New Jersey, is the second to Niagara.
Pat Patterson.
Pat Patterson, yeah. There's an old hydroelectric plant that is closed down. I don't understand why the politicians don't reopen that hydroelectric plant. Do you imagine how much electricity those falls could produce for northern New Jersey, for the local people? It just makes too much sense. You would think the politicians would be qualified to come up with that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hydroelectric plant and
I mean, politicians are not usually looking for the benefit overall. They're just looking for their benefit.
yeah. Well, the progressives like Bernie Sanders would definitely have had that going, but it's just weird that they don't have hydroelectric at the second largest waterfall in the United States.
That's because the lobbyists put a moratorium to it because, like Ronnie said, it's to fill the politicians' pockets.
You think
So somebody influenced them to stop
you
it.
think the fossil fuel industry lines their pockets and stops the hydroelectric?
Who knows? Somebody stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's preventing. Otherwise, they would have done it already, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's big. I've been there. I mean, I was born in Patterson, but
But it's like you just said, James, about the Sahara Desert. They can make it happen, but somebody's saying no. Somebody from the very top of the World Economic Forum, says no. You're right.
the oligarchy.
It's endless sunshine. That's why it's a desert. Desert.
Just think about it. You have well over 100-degree temperatures with no shade. It's
I mean, Arizona, Nevada, like you just said.
Nevada,
Eastern Southern California.
Eastern Southern. Thank you for bringing that up. It's Eastern Southern California.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing but pure, direct radiation from the sun. Pure.
I mean, Death Valley's in California, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Eastern Southern. And it's like you said, pure sunshine, radiation with no shade. Perfect for solar energy. Perfect for solar energy. When I get excited, I have to
ring my bell.
ring my bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling. Remember that song?
Yep.
Don't you ring my bell?
Who sang
Anyway,
that?
Evelyn No, it wasn't Evelyn Champagne King.
Was it?
Who was it?
Gonna ring my
Ring my bell, my bell.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Ring a bell.
Ring my bell.
What was she?
The Club 54 days.
Studio 54.
You've been in Club 54, right, James?
No,
James has been to Plato's Retreat.
no, not Studio 54. I was at Plato's Retreat where everybody was banging, having sex orgies all over the place.
Hmm.
That was and then when the bacon and AIDS epidemic started, Governor Mario Cuomo closed all the sex clubs. They were,
Vote for Cuomo, not the homo.
yeah, when Eddie Koch was running for governor of New York, Mario Cuomo's reelection slogan was "Vote for Cuomo, not the homo."
Not homo.
Hmm.
Yeah, because Eddie Koch was, kind of fruity, and he was never seen with a woman ever.
Never, ever.
Ever well, Merv Griffin, they did what stars did in the past. They had these fake marriages. So Merv Griffin had a fake marriage with Zsa Zsa Gabor, and he was really dating Denny Terrio from Dance Fever. Merv Griffin. So that's why he used to go ooh all the time on his show. Merv Griffin would do that. Ooh.
What show?
Well, Merv Griffin's
Merv Griffin
the
show.
Merv Griffin
Oh,
show.
I've never seen it.
It was like Johnny Carson. I mean, it
Okay.
was like the Tonight Show.
Yeah, it was a daytime.
Was it
Johnny
before
Carson.
Johnny Carson?
Yeah.
Oh, it was
No, it
daytime.
was during
Daytime one?
it was just daytime. Johnny Carson was on late
Yeah.
night, and Merv Griffin was on during the afternoons for the
Yeah,
housewives.
for the housewife.
Well, the Tonight Show, yes, it was an afternoon show. The Tonight Show goes way back to the early '60s.
Yeah,
Before
Jack
Johnny
Parr.
Carr, it was Jack Parr, and it was Steve Allen.
Who does it now?
Steve Allen
Is that
used
Jon
to
Stewart?
used to be a pro wrestling announcer before he got into show business.
Who?
Steve Allen used to be a pro wrestling announcer
Hmm.
before he got into mainstream showbiz. But yeah, I'm sorry. You asked me who does the Tonight Show now?
Yeah, is that Jon Stewart?
No, it's not Jimmy Fallon. He took over for David Letterman. It's this other guy.
And Kimmel's on ABC though.
That's him.
Jimmy Kimmel?
Kimmel.
I thought Jimmy Kimmel's on ABC.
I know Jimmy Kimmel took over for Jay Leno.
Oh,
Jay Leno took over.
maybe it is Jimmy Kimmel.
Jay Leno took over when Johnny Carson retired, and then Kimmel took over for Leno. And Jay Leno's from Boston, but he doesn't have an accent.
Did you know Jay Leno once fought Hulk Hogan in WCW?
I
He
did
put him
what?
in an armbar.
I missed that.
Oh,
I missed that one.
It was Hulk Hogan
Wow.
was teaming up with Dennis Rodman, I think, and Jay Leno was teaming up with DDP, I believe. 1998.
Wow. I know celebrities made their occasional appearance on pro wrestling. They all did, Schwarzenegger. I think the late Jerry Springer even showed up, I think.
I don't think he ever fought in a match though.
No. They were like guest celebrities. The one with Donald Trump was real funny. When Vince was like playing with Donald Trump's red tie, bouncing it around like this, and then Vince tweaked his nose, grabbed Donald Trump's nose, and went beep 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 beep, and then Donald Trump socked him, punched him in the face.
They never fought either. It was Umaga was fighting for McMahon, I think, and Bobby Lashley was fighting for Trump. And I think Bobby Lashley ended up winning, and then Vince McMahon had to shave his hair. That's why he shaved his head. It was Vince McMahon's hair versus Donald Trump's hair on the
Did
line.
they really? Did he really get buzzed though?
Yeah, he did, and he was he had like a crew cut for a while, and then over the years he grew it back, but it never came back in as good as it was before. He fucked itself up by doing that.
He had
'Cause he always
well,
had a good head of hair.
yeah, but maybe he was at that age where his hair started thinning. You know, I mean, getting your head buzzed
Hmm.
does not make you bald.
But that's what he did. So they shaved it off, and he wore a do rag for a while.
He had a do-rag.
He was actually after that. I guess you never watched it back then.
No, because
He became the ECW champion, and he would wear a do rag.
and he said to Hogan when he had the arm wrestling competition, "I have $1 million biceps."
Yeah,
$1 billion biceps.
that was a couple of years before.
And then say you could tell Hogan was much younger than it. And Sable flashed Hogan. That's how McMahon won the arm wrestling competition.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, he
Because
was
in kayfabe, Sable was McMahon's mistress.
kayfabe. Yeah, this was when she was married to Mark Merrow.
I think she was still married to Mero, but they were like about to get divorced, and she was gonna go off with Lesnar soon.
He
Oh,
he was so abusive though. McMahon Jr. They call him he's a maniac, lunatic, or he's just
Vince McMahon.
drunk. He became drunk with power,
Yeah.
money and power, making somebody's becoming like a megalomaniac or a narcissistic. Well, when somebody feels no remorse, they're sociopath. Sociopath. You know, somebody could be narcissistic and egomaniacal, but they
no, it's actually a psychopath. Feels no remorse.
feels no remorse.
Psychopath compared to
Yeah.
a sociopath would be they do feel remorse. A sociopath.
I think the sociopaths are more narcissistic and will do whatever they're gonna do to get ahead. But the psychopath definitely feels they're incapable of empathy. They're apathetic.
Mhm.
Apathetic.
I think a sociopath is also apathetic, but not to that extreme.
Yeah. There's
There's a line that
It's a
Yeah.
thin line.
distinguishes psychopath and
Well,
sociopath.
the narcissist feels that they're never wrong. They're always right, and
That's definitely a sociopath. Yeah,
yeah,
they're never wrong.
and they're the worst person to debate with because you can never sway them. You know, and everything's about them. They dominate, and this sounds like somebody we know. They dominate the conversation. They talk over you. They you know nothing. They know everything, and they're also very braggadocious. And
Oh, and they like to go to supper at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like the Red Rooster.
I'm supposed to abandon my mother and have dinner at 9:30 p.m. because he was like good and ready. He doesn't even call me. He texts me and says, "I'm ready now. I'm ready for dinner." Asshole.
Who's that, Paul?
No, not well. He's another one, but no, this is a guy who does so-called fitness seminars.
Hmm.
He's not. He's a warehouse worker that became delusional, like that he thought he was a fitness expert and started doing seminars, and all he really does is pace around and tell personal stories and jokes, and he doesn't really teach per se.
No, I taught my son elbows up, elbows down. I taught him that in about 5 minutes, and this guy goes tell stories for hours. Anyways, that's a whole different
That's a whole
topic.
different topic. And while he's telling stories, he has everyone to swing a steel mace, a light steel mace, for a long
He
period.
likes to be worshipped, hero worshipped by sycophants, Ronnie.
Yeah, hero worship
He's got a big following.
of sycophants.
He's like the Pied Piper
Oh,
with the mice.
the Pied Piper.
Yeah, the Pied Piper is like when you lure the lemmings off the cliff into the ocean.
You have untapped potential.
Oh yeah, remember that commercial, Ronnie S? You all in this room have untapped potential.
That sounds familiar. Who did that?
Yeah, it was a Pinocchio. What the hell? It was a Pinocchio character. I don't know if it was an insurance company or what, but insurance commercial. But he was like a Pinocchio character that when he lies, his nose grows. So, you know,
Yeah, I
he
remember
was
that.
given a seminar, like a motivational. He was a motivational speaker. Everyone in this room has untapped potential.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's what they usually tell you. You have untapped potential.
Well, everybody probably has untapped potential, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has untapped potential.
Yeah. Well,
It's whether you tap it or not.
there's always room. There's
Yeah,
always room.
depending on your circumstances
There's
too.
always room for improvement with every human being.
Yeah.
It's just some people have a little bit of potential to tap, and some have a lot.
There's always something.
There's always some.
Some have the potential to tap, and then others get tapped.
Yeah.
You have the tapper
Are you the tapper or the
or the
tappee?
tappee. Well,
Or the tapioca?
tapioca. Yeah, that's what they should serve.
Oh, Macarena.
Oh, Macarena. We have fun on Sundays.
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain when she
She
comes.
comes. Is that when they speaking of coming, they have proven that a woman really has a fluid that they squirt.
Of course they do.
A woman does excrete something during orgasm.
Of course they do.
I mean, of
Was
course.
I didn't know that was in.
What is
debate.
it? But what the hell is it? Like, that's what I want to know. It's like, yeah, it's not urine. It's
Mhm.
it's a certain type of liquid that
It's juice.
jism juice, jismatic. It slices and dices, and julienne French fries. Remember that? They used to say that when they used to advertise these
Oh yeah, with the knives.
kitchen
Yeah,
appliances.
the knives that never get
The
dull.
mandolin. Yeah,
Or the chopper.
one time I ordered the Sportsman. This was the beginning.
Hi-ya!
This was
The chopper.
the
And they show a karate guy on the chopper.
the
That's another Wampa
now
peel.
the ninja knives
Oh yeah.
were very sharp, but they broke on me. They snapped. The
Ah.
Sportsman's Dream. I only have one knife left of the set. The others were dull. I only kept one that is still sharp, and that's the smallest one. and they weren't chef's knives; they were serrated. And you know, the commercial said, "Never need sharpening, forever, forever."
They cut through an aluminum can and
Yeah,
all
they
this other
show them
stuff.
cutting, sawing through a pipe and the aluminum can, and
Yeah, concrete and all this other crap. Yeah, CV pipe.
PCV.
Mm.
You know, that's a very versatile tool. That's what Kent Beeson used with his homemade.
Yeah, we use those for barbells. Like you put the kettlebells on the end, like on a band. Yeah, you put a band through the handles of the kettlebell. You put them on the end of the PCV pipe, and it goes one. And when you bench it, it's a very unstable. It gets the stabilizes in your shoulders.
Yeah, and there's also an invention called a slush bar, where they put they you get a PCV pipe and you seal both ends and you don't fill it all the way with
Yeah.
sand or buckshot. You fill it partially, and as you're using it, the weight would be shifting from one end to the other, and
Mhm.
it's supposed to create instability, and
Yeah.
you have to, you know, work with it. Like this one guy, he was a personal trainer. He had a personal training studio in a gymnasium equipment store, which I don't you don't see many of those anymore. I mean, not Modell's, you know, bullshit. I mean, the real gym equipment. And he had in the back, all the way in the back, he had his own little studio, and he was a trainer. And he said, I told him about my friend who does shoulder presses with 100-pound dumbbells, who now recently had shoulder surgery.
Who's this?
A friend of mine, Brian, that I used to work with professional wrestling.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, he did a lot of steroids, and he ended up hooked up to a heart monitoring device, and he had recently had he has shoulder surgery because he fucked himself up.
Mm.
So I mentioned about my friend with the 100-pound dumbbell. He says, yeah, tell your friend to sit on the stability ball, lift one leg straight in front of you, lift one leg off the floor, and have him try to shoulder press with those big dumbbells.
You know what's neat about this picture? You got Ronnie in the south, and then you get me right above Ronnie from the north.
So you got to put James in the middle.
Yeah, because James on the Mid Atlantic. Oh my gosh.
Wait a minute.
But you got to put them like on the top of each other, not side by side.
Wait a minute. Hold
Yeah,
on.
the United States.
Now, me and
Eastern corridor. Or northeast corridor.
Can you
Alright,
can you
hold
do
on.
it top, middle, bottom, or no?
Now, I am. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't think I can do
Probably
that.
not because it's sort of this is like a landscape thing versus portrait. If it was portrait, you could stack it. Everybody can be stacked. But yeah.
There you go.
To
Yeah, but now you guys are like thumbnails.
we're the Munchkins.
Look, now you're
I
Munchkins.
am the lollipop kid. The lollipop kid.
The lollipop guild. Welcome to Munchkin Land. You know, I heard that midgets can have normally sized parents.
Yeah. Oh no! How about the children though? If two midgets,
I said midget, and Ronnie's cracking up.
how about if two midgets procreate, can they have a regular sized kid,
Maybe.
or are they sterile? Or...
It wouldn't surprise me. I heard that mules cannot reproduce. You have to mate a horse with a donkey,
Yeah.
horse with a chucho in order to produce a mule. You can't take two mules. You can't take a male and female mule and produce another mule.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of the mysteries of life. I found out armadillos don't have teeth. They're like anteaters.
Hmm.
Um,
Armadillos are weird. I see that. I
well,
see
yeah,
them down here.
Oh.
there's armadillos in Florida, sure.
They roll up into balls. Right.
Yeah, yeah. They have like an aardvark looking face.
Yeah.
They have long ears and like a pig-like nose.
Mm-hmm.
They eat insects. They have like a long sticky tongue, but they have long, strong, sharp claws for digging. That's how they get to their food. Uh, um, Ronald Terrio says his backyard is full of holes from the armadillos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they also defend themselves too, if they have to. But most of the time, they roll into a ball. You ever see roly polies? They're isopods. You lift up like a tree, rotten wood or something and you see the roly polies. They roll into a ball when they're frightened.
No.
Yeah, they're in the shrimp family. They're actually crustaceans, and they live in the ground. And you'll find them often under like rotten tree stumps. Rotten tree logs, and they're very beneficial because they eat crap.
Crap.
Anything that's rotting.
Yeah.
It could be leaves. It could be wood. It could be decomposed animal. Yeah, it's a cleanup crew, but they're not bugs.
Yeah, it's good for the ecosystem.
Yes, they're very eco beneficial, and they're not insects. They're crustaceans.
Crustaceans.
Yeah, but now they have designer isopods, all different colors, and I had some dairy cows isopods that look like a cow. They have the same body pattern as a cow. This was years ago. I want to get some more.
You're at work
I wanna
today,
get-
Jeff?
No, I'm at my house right now. And so
Do you usually work Sundays?
yeah, for the most part, but I had today off because I'm burnt out and I finished my fiscal year end with the auditors, so I took today off.
Good, man.
I wanted to take off a day last week during the week, and I
So you
couldn't. Things
normally
just
work
get too busy.
7 days a week?
Yeah, for a long time, but I have a good job that I like. Ronnie, I hated what I used to do. I used to work for Grant Thornton and for PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was a
did
tax
you?
manager,
Yeah.
and I hated.
They run you down, right?
Yeah, but I didn't like doing that job. But this job I love doing because I always wanted to be a controller and a CFO.
Yeah.
So now that because it's so busy and so dynamic, and whereas before you're just researching and
Uh-huh.
it's not rewarding. The other job I had
No, I know.
sucked.
It's, public accounting is not rewarding, right?
No, because you send the client the bill, they don't want to pay it,
They don't pay it.
even though you worked very hard.
They don't respect your time.
No.
Yeah.
No. Whereas if you're a doctor or a lawyer,
They do.
they have no problem paying it.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're
No.
you're a part of a necessary profession. Of course, you expect to get paid.
no, you do. It's just
You-
like
yeah, it could be a- it could
Ronnie
be a
knows.
pain.
It's just a different perception.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, like you go to auto mechanic. Can you fix the car? No, because you don't have all the electronic tools to do it and all the experience, right? And then the guy gives you the bill to repair your car. Oh my God, that's expensive. Well, you try doing it,
It is expensive though. I mean,
but they don't
that's a
mind
bad
staying in a
example
hotel.
because
They don't
mechanics
mind
will
staying in a
rip you
hotel for
off.
the weekend in Manhattan and spending $600 a night at the hotel.
But they have the problem paying the account.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
from what my experience, when an accountant gives a client a bill, they're not really trying to rip them off.
No,
No,
not at
it's
all.
usually a pretty fair bill for the time that they put in. When the auto mechanic, at least I think, they can rip you off because
They can rip you off because you don't know,
yeah, you don't really know.
especially the diagnostics. That's a big scam
Yeah,
at the dealerships
yeah.
because
It
who
comes
are
up with
we?
like a list of 10 things that you need. When they
Yeah,
put it through the diagnostics, and then they're like, all right, they give you a list of like 10 different things. You know, most of them are small shit, but they're like, you still, you should do it. Like it's recommended.
I know, and
I hate cars, man. They're so annoying. Like they're expensive. You got car insurance, and then you start to get mechanical problems. And I wish I knew more about fixing cars. I wish I would have like paid more attention as
I
like
know, but it is
when I
tougher
was
though with all
younger.
this electronic stuff now. In
Yeah,
the olden days, most men did
their
know how to
own
do
their own work, right? Yeah.
minor engine repair, or with a
Mhm.
carburetor and things like that.
Yeah, like my dad, he knew how to do all
And they
that
all
shit.
changed the oil
Right.
and everything else in the
I used to know how
battery.
to change my oil. Like I learned it from like a class I took in high school.
Yeah.
But then after a while, I just stopped doing it, and I don't even remember how anymore.
Well, after a while, I remember like even during the '90s, it was relatively cheap to
Yeah,
go get an oil change. Back
yeah.
then, it was like
Even up
$30
until
or
up
something like that.
until recent times, it was only like $30 or something. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's it.
whatever.
That's what I said,
I just
30
pay it.
bucks. And now
Now
it's
it's
like
like $75 or something.
yeah. Yep.
And it's just like everything else over the last like 3 years, just skyrocketed. So
But then
it's the
again,
same
when you
thing.
go get oil changed, they can do it in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it is kind of nice in that way. And then sometimes you get a car wash there too.
Sometimes you do. Yeah, they'll throw that in.
So
well, the worst thing is when the mechanic says, "You come over here just for a minute."
I've never seen
oh
that.
yeah. Can I see you for a second, Mr. Zambello? Oh boy.
Here we go. Ka-ching,
Bend
ka-ching.
over and spread the cheeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they call you over, is that a good
That's why
sign?
you can't let your
It's
car
like the
get too old.
proctologist.
You can't let your car get too old anymore because you don't want to deal with these problems, these mechanical problems. So you buy a car and then give it like 3 years and then you got to go trade it in because you don't want to pay the car off. And then by the time you pay it off, then you have all these mechanical problems.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
So you're getting fucked both ways.
that's why I'm very enthusiastic about the advancement in science with the electric vehicle, because I would love to see all these crooked auto mechanics go belly up.
James,
I won't
in the
lose
last
sleep.
few weeks, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news. The electronic cars, it's not working because
I know.
because they don't have enough charging stations. They're not reliable. They're very expensive. Like those batteries cost like $23,000 to replace, and to bury those batteries, it's the worst environmental hazard. And even to make the batteries with the cobalt, you have to strip the earth just to make the battery. So it's not. It's
Well, they're
everything that the
lithium.
environmentalists don't want.
They're lithium. They're lithium batteries. But the problem
Lithium
is,
and cobalt.
it takes for the car battery. It takes
Takes hours to charge.
it,
Hours.
it it takes so long to charge. I mean, the best ones charge in a half hour, but do you really want to stand around by a charging station for a half hour? I mean, to
I
charge, no. I
I
mean,
don't know if it's a half an hour, James. And that's if you can get to it. If someone's not in front of you, you got to wait for them or two people ahead of you, whatever it is.
yeah,
Can you imagine me driving from my house to your house in New Jersey? How long it would take?
it's taking
Yeah.
so
Anyways,
long.
it's just
The rain,
so. So what happened was the bottom line is how you know is that Mercedes Benz. They said they're going to go all electric by 2030. They're not. They just announced a week or two ago. They're not. They're discontinuing the electronic
yeah,
cars. And same thing, Ford. They just can't sell them. Nobody wants to buy them. And Avis rental car. They tried to do that, thing last year. So they took a big loss. They sold all the electronic cars at Avis rental
yeah,
car.
because the range is only 300 miles.
So people,
So you,
if they get off the airplane, they say, "Oh, we're going to electronic car." I said, "No, I'm not renting that."
no, it's a bad. It's the technology is not there yet with the current science
Yeah, but
that they have now.
how is electricity made from fossil fuels? James, it's just a gimmick. It's a political gimmick. It's like what Ronnie was saying about Patterson, New Jersey. You
What
know,
did I say?
we're talking about electronic cars. So, anyways, it's just a big political scam.
The EV.
The EVs, yeah. And Ronnie, you heard that Mercedes Benz, they're gonna remember how they said that they're gonna be all electronic by 2030? Well, they just
Yeah.
pulled back. They said it's just not feasible. And they
They
have a
always
lot.
say 2030, but it's just because that seems like it's a good enough time away. But we're already 2024 now, so it's
Right.
like that's only 6 years away.
So
They
they're
have
not
to,
going to do that now.
they're gonna
People
have to
just
start
don't want
saying
that.
like 2040, soon. They're gonna start saying that.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's only like a 300-mile range on the damn.
well, James, what are you hearing in local New Jersey with these electronic buses? Up here, they're not working.
I heard there was a lot of problems because of the cold weather, right?
In Boston, they're not working.
Yeah,
They would,
I did hear
they're
that.
very liberal down this. They bought into this program because the federal government gave them some money, and those electronic buses just aren't working. The electronic school buses, same thing.
The cars too, though, right? Because they don't do good in the winter in
No,
the cold areas.
absolutely not. What happened, Ronnie? Uh, what state was it? Was it Ohio or somebody had a big cold snap, and the electronic cars just wouldn't work?
A big what did you say?
A cold snap.
Oh, cold snap. Yeah. I heard that too.
Yeah,
Maybe like Michigan, something.
Michigan. I think it was Michigan actually, and they had a lot of complaints.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like an electronic thing probably is not going to do very well in the cold
Yeah.
because I guess it freezes up, right?
Yep.
Well,
And the tires are very, they're very expensive because the electronic cars, the EVs are very heavy, and they have wide tires, and it's a different rubber, and the rubber wears out very fast because of the weight of the battery.
well, a much better alternative to EV is
Hybrid.
Hydrogen.
what Toyota invented, which is a hydrogen. It's a hydrogen vehicle that converts water to hydrogen in the vehicle itself.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah, of course. It's just the science is not there yet. Now they're making these. They're like helicopters. They're making these flying cars, electric flying cars. It takes 3 hours to charge, and you can only fly for like 20 minutes or something like that.
What into
They were
somebody's house?
supposed to have flying cars by now, right? It's like when the
just
Jetsons
think
came
about
out in the 60s.
3 hours to charge, and you can't even fly for a half hour.
No, I mean it's pretty cool if you can fly though.
Yeah, no, they're flying. They work. I mean, they work, but
By
you know,
this time, we were supposed to have flying cars already. Like when the Jetsons first came out in the 60s, right? The cartoon.
yeah,
They said by like the year 2000, you'd be able to have flying cars, just like they did.
you probably need a pilot's license.
I would say.
Well, do you?
I would say because
If you're flying a car for a half hour, do you need a pilot's license? And how high can you go?
High.
high enough that you hit
Really?
somebody's house.
No, they go pretty high.
What company is this, James?
Well, so far there's a Chinese company that's
Of course, it's Chinese. American companies can't do this shit.
yeah. I've been watching the video.
American companies should be able to do it. I mean, we get MIT and all these universities over here. Again, I think it's all political that they're giving China all these opportunities. We have the know-how here.
The business
who
of
invented
China.
the cars?
They're
The business of
Who
China is
invented
business.
look at Ford Motor Company, the Industrial Revolution,
Listen,
the best engines.
my longtime friend from mainland China shows me videos of how modern the infrastructure is in China, and it takes them to build a bridge. It took them like a few days.
Wow.
Just about. I mean, but the infrastructure. Could you imagine the civil engineers involved over there in building what they build with the roads, the bridges,
Did you see
tunnel,
that train
tunnel.
station in Moscow? How nice it
What,
was?
Ronnie?
Did you see that train station that in Moscow? It was beautiful.
No. What about it?
It's
Tucker
clean.
Carlson did a show about it. He went
Oh.
and he showed the train station in Moscow,
Yeah.
Same,
and he was comparing it to like the subways in New York.
same
Yeah.
thing with
So what do you say about it?
Well, it was beautiful. They showed a video of the train station, and it's artwork all over the place.
Yeah.
the same thing with train stations like in China. It looks like a shopping mall.
Yeah,
It looks like a mall. It's like
and
and
then
then
in
you
New
go
York
to
City,
New York
you get pushed on the subways.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
third rail.
you got homeless crackheads pushing you on the train tracks. You got crime.
So his basic point was, how
Yeah,
come they
dirt.
can do it and we can't?
They showed rats.
Yeah.
They showed rats in the
Oh,
subways.
there's huge rats. They're huge.
You know, dirty. There's no
Yeah.
graffiti.
There was no graffiti. There was nothing like any type of vandalism at all.
Wow.
That's incredible.
You saw the video, right, James?
Yeah, I saw many between China and Russia train station. Forget about
And this
it.
is a country that Russia, that we're supposed to think is like poor and they can't take care of themselves. We always thought that we have the best technology, the best types of things, and what his basic point was is that maybe that's not really true. Like they're actually doing a good job with their tax dollars, and the Americans are getting taxed. I mean, if you live in New York City, you're getting taxed to death, and you go to Subway, which is in squalor. I mean, you got to fear for your life. So it's disgusting.
I think it's also the politicians too, because
Well, I think that's kind of what he was alluding to.
yeah, because when it comes to technology, I think the world shares technology, or I mean, I know there's patents and everything, but Russia doesn't have more technology than the U.S., etc. Oh, Germany, etc., is very technologically advanced, but Germany is on a downfall, societal.
Because Germany is falling
it's a
prey
shame.
to the Americans.
The UK.
They tell them what to do.
What's that?
The American government tells the German government what to do, basically. So Germany
Yeah.
can't stand on its own.
Yeah.
And it's to its detriment, to its own detriment.
So, like, Russia is very national, is a nationalist government.
Mhm.
Um, and they look out for themselves. They're not so much globalist.
Right.
They take from the globe, but they don't give to the globe.
The same with China.
And I think that's the big difference.
And
Whereas we're
the
sending all
United
this money to
States is
Ukraine,
sending money to Ukraine, to
all
Israel.
over the world. Doesn't matter. It's all
There's
political.
lots of countries.
Yeah,
Lots of
Israel,
countries.
Ukraine, and
Those are
then
just the top two that people are talking about. They're
Iran,
spending money all over.
Iran, and Iran wants to destroy us, and we gave them 150 billion dollars.
you got over 800 U.S. military bases all over the world that they're like
And that's very expensive.
they're just sitting there. There's no these. You don't need bases in Europe. They don't want us.
They're not just sitting there, they're actually sitting pawns because that base that was in Jordan,
Mm.
I mean, why are they even in Jordan? And then 2 Americans get
Probably
killed.
because there's oil.
What are they even doing there? Is oil in Jordan? I mean, who the fuck cares?
No, I know, but it's all politically driven. You gotta
Of
remember,
course it
rich
is.
men,
Yeah, but
rich men
it's
like
always
the
politically
resources.
Could you imagine what could be accomplished if you saved all that money by closing all these bases and and stop giving to Israel?
well, maybe you can build a nice train station in New York City, like they did in Moscow.
Exactly.
No, you can solve the whole infrastructure problem in the United States. You can have high speed bullet trains. You can have
Yeah, they don't want that. They don't want to do that.
bridges, roads, bridges,
They don't want to
tunnels.
do that.
Uh, uh, what else?
Then what would happen? Who's gonna give the money to Raytheon and Northrop Grumman? They got to build weapons. Got to build those weapons.
They can finish the wall.
Well, maybe they should actually. Maybe they should build a fucking wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And process like people that come here like legally that are not criminals.
That's one of the problems with Trump's first presidency, was he said he was going to build the wall and he was going to make Mexico pay for it, and he didn't do it.
Mexico paid for it.
Yeah, he did say he was going to do that.
Mexico doesn't want the Mexicans don't want to come here anymore because the president they have now, there's so much manufacturing right now in Mexico, and he's cleaning up all the corruption.
But all the people coming through the border have to go through Mexico first.
Yeah,
whatever country they're coming from, they have to go through Mexico.
Yeah, well, Mexico probably doesn't want them. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason.
So Obrador, I mean, they're coming from his country, whether they're his citizens or not.
Yeah, but they're doing like friggin'. He's doing wonders.
There's a lot of fucking corruption with that shit, man.
Yeah, they have the biggest lithium deposit that he's discovered in Mexico, much bigger than China. That's big bucks. He's got the bullet trains. I mean,
In
the
Mexico?
high-speed rails. Yeah.
So we got the high-speed rail in Florida. The only place in the country. Did you know that, Jeff?
I didn't know that.
There's a high-speed rail, but it wasn't built by the government. It was built by a private company.
Well,
from Miami to Orlando, it takes you an hour in a high-speed rail.
You know how Obrador is keeping the corruption or the cartels from taking control of everything. He's got the Mexican army running the
acting as police.
Public transportation. Yeah, but otherwise, if they privatize it, the criminal element would.
You know what? Bukele, this guy Bukele, he's the president of El Salvador, which used to be run by MS-13. They were like the mafia there.
Yes.
He when he became president, he turned the whole country around, and he said anybody with a tattoo on their face is going to jail, like flat out.
Yeah, because
He put them in jail.
that's the telltale sign.
Right.
You know, the Brazil has a new president that's doing wonders over there too, because that was really a corrupt government in Brazil.
Bukele also made legal tender Bitcoin, he did that a few years back. So, and they have the dollar too. They use the United States dollar in El Salvador. So they have the U.S. dollar and
Really?
Bitcoin.
They don't have like a Salvadorian.
They used to, but the U.S. bought them out.
They used to have a Salvadorian pesos or something like that.
They had something, but there's quite a few countries in Latin America that they kind of were going bankrupt, so the U.S. went in and introduced their money. Ecuador is one, El Salvador, and Panama. Those are three I know off the top of my head.
Yeah,
So that if you go down with U.S. dollars, you don't have to go through an exchange rate or anything.
no exchange rate. And Venezuela, they use bolivars, named after
Bolivars, yeah.
General Bolivar.
Simon Bolivar was
Bolivar, yeah.
he was a big guy in the revolution against Spain.
Yeah, well, at that time, I think Colombia and Venezuela were like
They were together. It was called Gran Colombia, but it didn't last long.
Yeah, Bolivar, yeah.
Simon Bolivar. Yeah, he's big in South America. Big guy. He's kind of like George Washington.
Well, something had to give because the corruption was getting so bad in Latin America.
I mean, it's not going to stop, but there's just some interesting goings on right now.
Do they still have an embargo around Cuba?
I don't know. I don't know what the problem with Cuba is, man. Like, such a damn shame.
Could you imagine what a hot spot that would
It
be?
used to be. It used to be great.
Could you imagine what a hot spot that would be for tourists?
Of course, but that's what I'm saying. It used to be in the 50s. Like, it was run by the mafia, they say. But I mean, a lot of Americans went and enjoyed themselves there, and it's a huge island.
Well, General Batista was not doing well running the casinos. So he had the Chicago mob, I think. He had the mob come and run them, and then when the revolution took place, he took all his money.
He lived in Miami.
Well, first he went to the Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, because they had a strongman dictator that he was friendly with. His name was Trujillo, in Dominican Republic. He was very similar to Batista. And he actually got assassinated by the U.S. That guy Trujillo.
Yeah, Batista. Then all the Cubans that had money went to Miami.
Yeah.
Why
wouldn't they?
When they found out that Batista was losing the revolution, they went to Miami, and
because Castro was just going to take all their property. So why would you stay there?
Yeah, they did that. Well, yeah, they could have went to Mexico City, but they went to Miami.
Go to Mexico. You go to Miami, it's nicer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they went to Miami, and
you have little Cuba down there, little Havana.
Yeah, and
you ever been there, Jeff?
No. Nope.
That's where the Miami Marlins play.
They play dominoes. All the
they play dominoes.
Outside.
But that's where the Miami Marlins stadium is. It's in Little Havana.
Oh.
You realize that Bacardi rum is originally a Cuban company from Santiago, Cuba. It's not Puerto Rican. They went to Puerto Rico.
Wow.
They went to San Juan.
Wait, what was that, James?
Because of the revolution.
Bacardi, Puerto Rican rum?
Bacardi is actually a Cuban company from Santiago, Cuba.
Oh, really?
And they fled. They fled to San Juan
because of the revolution.
Because of the revolution, yeah.
They went to DR.
No, they went to
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, San Juan, yeah.
Oh.
So it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks what happened to Cuba, and Batista wasn't. He was a dictator, right? Obviously, and the people were living very poor. But Castro came in and he didn't help them. There's still poor people. So it was like, what the fuck?
Because he was a military, he was a despot, an autocrat, a military.
And if you think about the tourism that Puerto Rico gets and that Dominican Republic gets, they get a lot of tourism because of they're an island. Cuba is huge. It's so big of an island compared to the other
That's
islands
what I
down
mean.
there.
That's what I mean.
It's such a waste that they can't take
the,
advantage of that.
the potential that Cuba has for tourism is enormous because it's a huge island.
Now I work with a guy who
It's
goes
surrounded
out.
by water. Mhm.
I work with a guy who actually his wife is Cuban, and he was kind of telling me that Cuba actually does have a bit of a tourism industry, but it's like on the down low. And you can go there as an American, but you're supposed to. There's like 6 reasons that you can pick. You can say like I'm visiting family, or I'm doing it for education purposes or something, and you're supposed to have this ready when you cross into the border. But he said these days it's very lax and they don't even ask you anymore. So you can go there, but you can't stay at a government controlled hotel. And a lot of the hotels down there are government controlled because it's like still technically communist, I guess. So it's very limited amount of hotels that are privately owned that you can stay at.
Well, that really puts a hindrance on their tourism
Yeah,
industry
yeah.
because otherwise, uh, Americans would get a great bargain by going to a Cuban resort.
Instead, they go to Dominican Republic, and Dominican Republic reaps the benefits, and they love it.
Yeah,
And they do a good job. They do a real.
they got Punta Cana. That's very
Punta
popular.
Cana is beautiful, and the service there is great. They treat you great down there.
Yeah, they have all-inclusive resorts in Punta Cana.
Yep, and not very expensive. You can go down for 1,500 or so, and you have a very good time.
Well, do you have to go? Do you have to fly out of Canada for an American to go to Cuba?
No, you don't have to. So I'm saying you can fly out of America, but you're supposed to have a reason. Like you can say you're going there for an educational purpose or something like that. But
What
from
about
what he
your,
told me, they're not very strict about asking you about it anymore. Well,
what
before
about
they used to be more strict.
what about the reason of going there and spending your money?
Mm-mm.
Not enough.
They don't. They're not supposed to want. They're against capitalism, so they don't. They can't openly say that they want the money.
Well, I I wouldn't mind saving money on my vacation and going to a government-owned resort.
You can't go to a government-owned resort. That's the problem. As an American, because the diplomacy is not there between Cuba and US.
Maybe the embargo is still going on.
So somewhat, it's kind of complicated. Yeah,
If they lifted the embargo completely, that all might
they
change.
didn't lift it completely. Yeah. And Trump isn't good at that shit either. He kind of sucks with that
They and
because
they
Obama did lift a few things when he was president, and Trump made more restrictions when he came in. And then I don't think Biden ever put anything back.
and what is that called again? The United States still owns a little piece of Cuba or Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay, yeah, of course.
Guantanamo Bay.
They're not giving that up.
That's a federal. That's like a federal penitentiary, right?
I think it's a military base technically,
I'm
but they got
surprised.
all the terrorists there that they captured from Afghanistan. They've
Yeah,
been there for like 20 years.
I wonder how they ended up, even after the revolution, how they ended up keeping and retaining a little piece of the island. Like,
Yeah, right.
I wonder
I
how.
guess there was nothing that Castro could do. Like he obviously wasn't going to be able to fight militarily, so
Yeah,
that is a good point though.
Guantanamo Bay. Yeah,
Guantanamo Bay. And
lot
when Obama became president, or when he was running for president, that
Mhm.
was one of his points was he was going to close Guantanamo Bay, and he never did.
Yeah, that's weird. So it's one of the bases they can do without.
Well, the thing is with Guantanamo Bay, since it's on foreign soil, it's very, very secretive, and that's why that's where they do all the torture at. They can't do that in other areas. And Guantanamo Bay is the big one for the torture.
You mean torturing to get information out of
Yeah.
like a terrorist?
Yeah, a terrorist or even just not a terrorist.
Well, torturing will get a person to admit to anything,
To anything, right?
just to stop the torture.
Yeah.
Whatever
What do you think
happened
of that, the
to a
stuff?
polygraph? Whatever
Jeff?
happened to a polygraph test?
What do you think of this topic, Jeff?
I like it. That's why I'm quiet because I like listening to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think torture is
So
effective.
you guys, I like you guys because you guys are stating facts. You're not just editorializing based on your
Yeah.
political inclination.
Editorializing isn't a good
What about
practice, right?
what about the truth serums? What is it called? Sodium pentothal? Instead of torture, wouldn't you get more information using the truth serum?
I don't know.
Sodium pentothal.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a drug that makes you, a little bit out there, groggy, whatever, and you get makes you admit anything that,
It just gets you high and you start talking.
and you just start becoming you start revealing things.
Does it make you like talkative?
It makes you into a canary,
Yeah, but
You start singing like a canary.
why though?
like a little birdie told Taras's wife.
Does it get you high though? Like,
What are,
I
I
Yeah,
think
but-
it just
so,
shuts
like-
down whatever that mechanism in your head
yeah,
is
where
that enables you to tell a lie. It probably just shuts it down
so I'm
temporarily.
assuming like it kind of like, is it like LSD?
I
You
would
just like
have
you have no
You have to
borders
Google it.
anymore?
I would have to look it up on Google.
But it's an old method. Like, they've been using it for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier than torture because people want the torture to stop, so they'll admit to anything. So, but the sodium pentothal,
Well, a lot of times they want to just get the information, right? They want the
Somebody's gotta
person to
pull all
say
your
something.
teeth out.
So if you're torturing somebody,
or take out an eyeball,
Yeah.
pluck out an eyeball, you're gonna tell them the friggin'
you're
truth.
gonna tell them, well, not even necessarily the truth, but you're gonna tell them what they want to hear, so that you stop
Yeah.
torturing them. So
Yeah.
even if you didn't really do this, or whatever you're saying is not really true,
you'll admit.
you'll say it because you want the torture to stop.
So they got-
Whereas if this truth serum, you're gonna tell the real truth.
and
the
you
actual
don't have
truth.
to tell the terrorists you're giving them an injection of the truth serum. You can just say, "This is an injection to help you relax."
Well, they did that in Meet the Fockers, because remember they did that to Ben Stiller, and then he told the mother-in-law that she was so sexy and this and that. And I can see where your daughter gets your looks from, and because the father used to be in the CIA, Robert De Niro's character.
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Fokker.
just kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Was De Niro the father?
What?
De Niro was the father
Yeah, De Niro was the father-in-law.
of the girl.
Yeah, of Terry Polo was the actress.
That's an old movie.
Yeah, it's
I
hard to
haven't-
believe it's so old, but it
I
is
haven't
old. It's from
seen
the
it in a while.
1990s
Yeah, I think it was like 2000, early 2000.
or early 2000s. Yeah.
The Fockers.
Yeah. Well, the terrorists can very easily be transferred to a maximum security federal prison in the United States.
Yeah, I don't know.
And,
They just want to keep
Yeah,
going.
I'm looking for
A reason
for
why it's
waste.
okay.
Taxpayers' waste to be trimmed.
Well, that's not going to happen.
You know.
It's never going to happen. So,
Trim the fat.
wasting money is the federal government's
The way you start with that is make the
number
government
one
smaller. So you got
priority.
to cut away all these little agencies, James. And people don't
Like,
want that.
unnecessary things that don't do anything. That don't
Not
do
going to
anything.
happen. It's all political. It's all lobbyists.
You know, like a screw. What do they charge? Like the military, every little friggin' piece of hardware, they rip the government off for a lot of money, right? For Northrop Grumman and Lockheed.
Yeah,
And all
but they
these.
get better auditing procedures now. What we're talking about is paying for migrants' hotel rooms
Yeah,
and
good.
the food and all
Yeah,
but not
they
giving
got like,
all American citizens an increase in the Social Security.
yeah, like American citizens that are actual citizens that are poor.
They're not being taken care of
they're not being taken care of, but these illegal migrants are being taken care
because
of.
they're future voters for the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that's wrong, to have a migrant who is not a citizen be able to vote for an American politician.
Right.
That's definitely
So,
like,
anyways, we'll see what happens in November. But
yeah,
I think now people are finally waking up
and they're committing
because of the
crimes.
inflation and all the crime. Now,
They're
I haven't
committing-
been in New York City in a while. So, James, you live near New York City. You live right across. You can
But he
see New
never
York
goes
City
there, though.
from your apartment.
No, I don't go to that shithole.
But how? What are you hearing?
Well, they're committing crimes in Brooklyn. They're robbing
They're pushing
people.
people on the subway.
They beat up this cop, and they're throwing garbage in the streets. They're totally running amok, and the citizens of Brooklyn are livid. They're furious.
Yeah, but it's their
Trouble.
fault because they vote for Eric Adams to be mayor. It's their own fault.
Well,
It's their own fault.
Eric
Whether either they
Eric
voted
Adams-
for him or they didn't go. They didn't show up to vote.
What about Bucho, the governor, the female governor of New York State? She could say, turn around and tell Washington, say, hey, illegal migrants, it's your job.
No,
you
they can't
take
do that because
take
New
care
York
of the
City
problem.
is a sanctuary city. They declared themselves a sanctuary city.
Right. He's telling
Sanctuary.
facts.
It's their
Right.
own fault.
Exactly, Ronnie. Yep.
Sanctuary
I mean,
city.
and you can talk
not
about
coming to
federal
New
politics, all you want, but at the end of the day, your local politics is what really matters.
Yep.
In New York City and Chicago, LA, they have shitty local politicians.
Could you imagine all these hoity-toity suburban neighborhoods with big houses over here in Bergen County in northern New Jersey? Can you imagine if these migrants went and tried to pull shit over
New
here?
Jersey
They'd probably
actually
get the shit beat out.
is doing pretty good with that situation because they were trying to ship migrants over to Atlantic City, and
Atlantic City is already
the mayor of
ghetto.
Atlantic City fought back, and I think he's a Democrat too. And he was like, "No, we're not taking any of this migrant bullshit in Atlantic City." So
Atlantic
people
City
in,
Atlantic City is
it's
already a
fucked
ghetto.
up, I know, but it's good that they're taking a stand. New Jersey
It
seems
is
to
good.
be doing better than New York on that topic.
Sanctuary. That means sucker, right?
Yeah, basically. I don't understand what the fuck, like, I'm a sanctuary city. What the hell are you doing?
Well, and Central America, I mean, El Salvador is just one good example, but there's these people must be coming from other countries, right? Like
But they're sending the
Nicaragua.
criminals up from these countries and the mentally unstable and
They're,
everything else.
Releasing criminals from jail.
I mean, you don't mind the immigrants coming with the brains because
Yeah, but none of
America
these
could
people have
benefit
brains.
greatly,
That's not what you're getting, man.
but that's not what you're getting.
That's not what you're getting.
We-
I mean, maybe
we-
the brains might be coming from India or from China.
right.
All right, sure, but
We want the best to come here.
Maybe that's why Governor Abbott of Texas sends them on their merry way. Doesn't want them living in Texas, or what do you call DeSantis doesn't want them
Well,
living
he
in
just
Florida.
he has his National Guard protecting the state.
Yeah,
He's taking responsibility.
DeSantis sent the Florida National Guard to the border.
Yep.
Actually,
Yep.
But they don't. The news media doesn't mention that the riffraff are crossing the
Yeah.
border.
they
They
do.
just
They
say
do.
they mention it.
I think so.
Riffraff.
I mean, if you look at them, they look like riffraff. They show like videos of it.
No, I mean the media. I'm talking about the American media.
No, Fox does, but I don't think CNN and MSNBC or CNBC, whatever it is, they're not making
No,
they're
they
not
probably
exposing
cry.
it.
They probably cry.
They're an arm of the DNC.
Yeah. What's the word?
Unfortunately.
And
What do they
Fox is an
call it?
arm of the Republican Party too.
What's the word?
You know,
Is it
Fox is not
xenophobe?
unbiased in by any
Is
sense.
it xenophobia?
Xenophobia.
Xenophobia
Yeah, you can
is
say
You're supposed to have like a
xenophobia,
fear of immigrants.
James, you can say xenophobia all you want, but the facts is that there's huge amounts of crime.
Yeah, the facts are
So-
it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
Now,
are realizing
years ago, let's say in the 70s or the 80s, if
Yeah.
you're saying xenophobia, that's a
Mhm.
whole different perspective.
Sure.
But now, the facts speak for themselves.
now. I'm talking about what the American media would say. They would use words
Oh,
like
yeah.
xenophobia.
Or
You know,
or even worse than that. They might say racist.
yeah, they'll say rices. They say that these, not mentioning the fact that these are illegal migrants. Not, I won't use the word immigration because they're not coming over.
Yeah, so they're not called immigrants anymore. Now they call them
They're not
migrants.
And they're not making a big deal about that the states are giving them driver's licenses and all this other stuff. And that's just a way to get them to vote for the DNC.
Yeah,
That's why they're here.
This guy Eric Adams and this Bucho, whatever the hell her name is, this woman. Yeah,
Kathy Hochul.
Kathy Hochul. Yeah, I'm sorry, Hochul. You know, she's from what do you call Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Yep.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Eric Adams reminds me of
Is she
David
from
Dinkins.
Rochester or Buffalo? I think you're right.
Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, Rochester is on Lake Ontario, right across from Toronto.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but no. Oh, yeah, you're right. Because Buffalo is right next to Niagara Falls.
Yeah, and the Canadian side is called Horseshoe Falls. The Canadian side is not called Niagara. It's the same fall.
Oh, yes, it is.
Niagara.
It's called the Niagara
America.
region. Yes. It is Niagara Falls, Canada. I don't know what you're
So-
talking about.
Well, Niagara.
I've been there.
Niagara Falls.
I had a kettlebell competition at Niagara. It was called the Niagara Open, the
So-
Canadian Nationals.
But the Canadian side is part of Ontario, correct?
Right,
Right. And then you have the American side.
right. But it's called Niagara Falls, Canada.
Isn't that kind of where the St. Lawrence River meets Lake Erie, I think? I'm sorry, not Lake
Quebec.
where Lake Ontario meets Lake Erie. It's somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but perhaps.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna order some Chinese food,
I'm getting
Yeah.
KFC.
which I KFC, which I usually do on Sundays because I do the show, and that's okay. I like good Chinese food. I could order really good Italian food or pizza, but I just don't want to spend money on dough. You know, I'm not really. I don't eat that much white flour products anymore.
Mm.
Yeah, but well, you know, thank you for coming, gentlemen. Ronnie S. and Commodore Jeff Sim.
Yeah, and I worked out earlier, so I didn't have to go to the gym tonight because I worked out this morning.
Nice.
But yeah, Jay, usually do that when you're not at the office on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, and the evangelist, the Reverend Doctor Mikey Zambello, left to do the his usual seminar. I mean, his usual sermon.
Oh yeah.
You know, and um, I was gonna do spaghetti. I'll probably do it early this week. The spaghetti with mussels marinara, whole wheat
Mm.
spaghetti with the mussels. But did they ship?
The PEI mussels?
Well, the
PEI.
are
Prince
you
Edward Island.
the black ones? The black mussels.
Yeah, they come from Prince Edward Island.
Are you able? Are they plentiful for the Maritime Province citizens?
Yeah, because it's aquaculture.
Oh,
In other words, they're farmed. Like out in the bay, they buy lots. There's Masumi.
hey, good morning, Masumi. Good morning. Thank you for
Hey.
stopping by. It's Sunday. No. What am I saying? It's Monday morning in Japan. She's 14 hours ahead of us because of the stupid daylight savings time that we have here. She's 14 hours. She's supposed to be 13 hours ahead of us, but
Yeah,
thank
when are we getting rid of daylight savings time? They keep talking about it every year. Why are we still doing this in this day and age?
it's annoying.
It was for a reason way back when,
Yeah.
but now it's different times.
Well, they're still farmers.
You know, because of the railroad, the development of the railroad system, back in the 1800s, there were a lot more time zones in the United States. I didn't
Wow.
realize that there was like a whole bunch of time zones, and which doesn't make sense. I mean,
No.
there has to be a time zone based on science, on reality. You can't just make up time zones and get rid of time zones. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, she's just like Commodore Jeff is Atlantic time. We're Eastern. Okay.
Yeah, it's 7:15 up here right now.
Yeah, he's 1 hour ahead of us. Like Puerto Rico is Atlantic time also. They're 1 hour ahead of us. So because the maritime provinces, it goes farther east than us, northeast like this. Yeah, Atlantic time. But so you are they purge the farm raised mussels?
What do you
Do
mean?
you have to get them to cough up the sand, or are they already like?
No, it's very environmentally
Sound.
sound. Yeah,
So
because they have the seeds from the prior year's harvest, and they put it in something called a sock, and that's how they breed the mussels. And no, it's very good, and it's only in certain areas of Prince Edward Island, out in certain bays, like with salt water that's in low tides. And no, it's very good, and it puts people to work, and it's very sustainable.
So you can get these mussels locally, and
Yeah,
you could prepare them directly,
they're in all the restaurants. Yeah,
like without
the
worrying
problem
about.
we have up here is on all of our seafood, like lobster and fish, all
Fish.
gets exported to
Okay,
the U.S.
okay, but shellfish. How about scallops? Are they exported?
Oh yeah,
Scallops, okay.
absolutely, because it's out in the ocean.
Right. Now,
from a scallop boat.
now clams,
So,
yeah,
the boats, they have to make a profit, and so our exchange rate right now is 1.35.
okay.
So they get an extra 35% when they sell to the U.S. right off the bat from the currency
And like you
exchange.
said, the scallop boats have to go out and get them, just like the lobster
Right.
boat. Got to go get them. You can get clams locally and mussels, most likely, right?
Yeah, but they're very expensive for us because they sell everything to the U.S. Okay, I'll give you an example. Tarpon Springs near Tampa. Ronnie would know of. There's this
Springs,
this restaurant down there. I think it's called Belly Busters or whatever.
okay.
And so they have a trailer, a refrigerated trailer that goes to the airport every day. And they get Canadian seafood, like haddock and everything,
Yeah.
and scallops. And it goes right into that Tarpon Springs, Florida
Tarpon
restaurant
Springs
every
is right by
single
me.
day on their airplane, on a private airplane.
Wow.
That's right by where I live, Tarpon Springs.
Yeah. Do you know the restaurant I'm talking about?
No, I've actually never been to Tarpon Springs.
Yeah.
But it's a Greek area. It's known as being
Yeah,
very
that's
Greek.
right. It is a Greek area. That's right. And there's a beautiful Greek restaurant that we get some nice cakes and stuff in. And oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's where they have sponge docks where they go out and do.
Yeah, that's right. There's sponge shops there too. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Natural sponge. Yeah.
Yep, natural sponge. You're
Right.
right, Ronnie.
So a lot of all seafood from Canada.
So it's very affluent in the Tarpon Springs area, at least during the winter months. You know, when all the snowbirds go down there, and there's lines outside this restaurant because of the fresh seafood. But
I
I don't
every
like
day,
waiting in
at
lines
like,
for a
4
restaurant.
o'clock in the morning, that's when the airplane comes
Bet
in.
you can get nice gyros and souvlaki's and shawarma.
Mm, yeah.
The spinach pie. What do they call it?
And it's like nice and narrow
Spano
streets.
copita.
Spanakopita, spinach pie
Yeah. Spinacopia.
with the feta cheese, the spinach, and the
Mhm.
phyllo dough,
Filo dough.
the phyllo dough, the flaky dough. Oh, unbelievable! I bet
So I
that's
have that in my baklava every day. The
yeah. I was
filo
gonna
dough.
say. I bet that's what they use to make baklava.
Yeah.
Baklava. That makes me want to play Zorba the Greek.
Anyways, I'm getting hungry, so maybe we can do the boatswain's whistle.
Nice. That was good, James.
Yes. All right. Now I'm gonna. I forgot to pipe him aboard, which was a shame. But maybe I'll give him a double pipe before I close the show. That's for the beginning. Arr. Okay.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Masumi. Thank you, Ronnie S.
Thank you, James.
Actually, nobody else showed up. But you, Commodore, me, and Masumi.
That's all right. It's the core
right.
group.
It went well.
Yeah.
It went well.
No Bernie Sanders today.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
You notice I didn't get excited last night. I didn't say ooh look who's here. Ooh. I am so happy and proud to
Did
have
you notice after I called him out and said that he was actually Jason Cleveland, he stopped commenting? I didn't hear from Bernie Sanders anymore after that.
and I said, would you like to join the show, Bernie Sanders? And then I said, isn't it past your bedtime? It's kind of late.
No, because he's actually on the Pacific Coast, right?
He's in California. Well, the only reason why I tolerated him is because he was asking legitimate questions.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
he was,
He wasn't being a combative troll, but he was certainly being a troll.
yeah, he was trying to test us. Are you for open borders? Are you for this? Are you for that? I gave him my honest opinion on
I don't
everything.
know what the deal is with Jason Cleveland, man.
Oh, his wife is his wife.
So he makes like fake accounts and starts
I don't know.
commenting
I
the
don't know.
Horn Dog and Bernie Sanders.
You have a feeling. So
I
you
have
have
a very good feeling it's that guy.
it's him, and it's not Red Rooster.
I don't think so.
You have a feeling it's
I don't know
Jason
the Red Rooster. I don't know anything about
because
him.
his wife is a real heavy duty control freak. I mean,
So he
boss.
can't join anymore because he used to join.
No, she's the boss. He's got to
So he's
entertain.
got his phone and he's just fucking around on his phone.
His in-laws invite themselves like every Sunday to his house, and he has to go out and buy food and booze to entertain them because his wife
That's all
said,
right.
because his wife says so. No, they mooch off of him. He told me. He told me they mooch off of him. I says, well, why do you do it? Why do you do it? Who pays the bills? He does. Who has to buy the food and the booze for these in-laws? He does.
He's buying booze for his in-laws, and
And
he's not. He's not even drinking.
no, he drinks, but he admitted he's got to spend like a few $100 every friggin' Sunday to entertain a bunch of mooching in-laws. Because why? Because his wife invites them because
Maybe she won't have sex with him unless he
she's the
does that.
boss of the house, and I have a feeling if she doesn't get her way all the time, she uses sex as a weapon, like a lot of women do. She withholds sex, and he's not a sex camel. He's not a sex camel. He uh, you know, the only reason why women get away with it is because they know that men have a stronger sex drive than they do by a large percentage,
Yeah.
and they use that against the men, the simps. Let's just say the blue pill beta simps.
What? It's it's one of their tools. It's a strong tool.
Yeah, yeah.
Men are pretty weak for the most part when it comes.
Men
to
are weak when it comes to the giblets. When it comes to the genitalia, they're very weak. Not all men.
I would admit it. Like I'm pretty weak at times.
I mean,
When it
yeah,
comes to
but you wouldn't sacrifice your self-respect and dignity.
that. No.
Like you wouldn't be like a yes boy. Yes, dear. Anything you say, dear.
No. I mean, maybe I'll play that role for like an hour.
Until you get laid, then you'll revert back to your independent smart. Daryl Messias, thank you very much. It's a good show, James, Ronnie S, and Commodore. Thank you.
Daryl,
Mr. Daryl
the
Messias
pro wrestling fanatic.
of Northern California and pro wrestling fan.
Let's do some pro wrestling talk with Daryl.
Oh God, I'm ready. I'm ready to order some food. I don't even know what time it is. Yeah, pro wrestling. Well, anything new on Vince McMahon, or it's just
I haven't heard anything. I'm starting to think that this case is going to fizzle out, and they're going to settle out of court. Like when it first came out, you thought it was like a bombshell.
because she complied.
I don't know.
She complied with the
I
request.
mean, Vince McMahon's going to have some really good lawyers, so
She
it's going to
didn't.
be tough.
She didn't fight. It's not like she was fighting a rapist off of her.
But then also they had the dirt on John Laurinaitis. I haven't heard anything about that. And Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about that.
When Vince told her, I want you to go to John Laurinaitis' office.
Johnny, call him Johnny.
Johnny's office and have sex with him, and I want.
And then he wanted to watch. Vince McMahon liked watching.
Yeah.
Other guys have sex with this
Right.
girl.
And
He wanted to
so,
watch.
so,
He's a fucking freak.
so the gangbang, she complied with the gangbang. She didn't say no and walk out and leave the office and say, no, I'm not that kind of girl. You know, a woman can do that. You know, I'm really not that kind of girl. I feel very offended that you would even suggest.
Oh, look what Daryl said. There's a pay-per-view tonight.
Sting's
Sting's
last
last
match.
match. Oh, maybe I should fork over the $40 and watch.
No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep an eye on.
You're gonna wait till tomorrow and watch it on Daily Motion.
No, tonight. Well, I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on Daily Motion and see if I can watch it for free. Because if it's for free, it's for me.
Hey, you're not gonna pay $40, right?
Nah, I ain't gonna pay no $40. It's like, you
That's
know,
pretty cool, though. I used to like watching pay-per-views. You know, get the friends together. I haven't done that in years, though.
you know, a lot of pubs here would like pay the $40 and play the.
That's cool.
They
That's
would
really cool. I
play
think
the-
if a bar plays wrestling, that's a really cool thing.
I know. Actually, that was a smart idea. Pub 46, which is a Irish pub that we all used to hang out at. They, you know, reasonable booze, good food, reasonable food, and we would go there. And every time there was a pay-per-view, they would have it. So the owner would pay the $40, show the pay-per-view, and
And people will come.
people go there and they would do.
Well, that's what they do for the UFC
They
pay-per-views.
buy drinks, they buy
A lot of the
beers.
bars buy the UFC pay-per-views, which are like even more expensive. And people go there, but for some reason they don't do it that much for wrestling. They say it's fake or blah blah blah. It's whatever. It's fun to watch.
It's a soap opera for men.
Just put it on.
Now Sting, he doesn't really. He looks pretty good for whatever age he happens
Sting's
to
got to
be.
be in his upper 50s. I think.
He actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, he takes good care of himself.
Sting doesn't really have to retire tonight.
I don't think
mean,
Sting ever got into the steroids or the drug abuse or the heavy drinking.
There's got to be a reason why he's in great shape.
Yeah, I don't think I never really heard stories about him.
Because you know how many wrestlers look decrepit when they got older after they retired from wrestling? Because
Did you see what happened to superstar Billy Graham by the time like 1990? Because he was using steroids so rapidly.
he got a liver transplant. He had to get a liver transplant.
It's sad.
His liver was shot. He got a liver transplant from a girl who died in like a car
Sting
accident.
is 64. Holy shit, that's pretty old.
And
That's what
he's
Daryl says here, 64.
and he was in a wheelchair, and yeah, he was on a list to get a liver.
Yeah,
Now livers grow
Billy
back.
Graham, right?
Livers grow back.
So look here, Sting is 64. One more year, he can collect his Social Security.
Wait, you mean Sting is 64 right now?
I think that's what he said.
Oh, he looks pretty
But
good.
does he have any Social Security to collect? Because Sting is an independent contractor all these years as a wrestler.
Yeah, you're right about that. Now, Ric Flair looks terrible.
Yeah, well, Ric Flair was a party animal.
He was like the
He
ultimate.
didn't do
party
the
animal.
steroids though. Flair was never a
No,
body guy.
No, he drank excessively and
And I don't even think he really was big into coke or any of that. Maybe a little bit here and there.
he never used to talk about recreational drugs. He would talk
He was
about.
just a big drinker
He was just a huge drinker.
and a partier and a womanizer.
He did. Yes, he banged a lot of women.
But Hogan, he used to do a lot of steroids in the 80s, and he made it through.
He made it through, but you know his finishing move is what fucked his back up.
His finishing move, but that has nothing to do with steroids.
No, he
He chose the wrong move.
He admitted that he should have never chose that leg drop, which fucked up his spine.
Hmm.
Because just think about it. You're up in the air, you're landing on your tailbone, your coccyx bone, and it's
Yeah, it's
jamming
pretty,
your
pretty
vertebrae.
dumb idea. I guess it looks good. You know, you jump up, drop the leg. It's a simple move.
That's why I don't know why Nia Jax is doing it. You know, doesn't
From
she
what I
learn?
understand, Nia Jax is very um bad in the ring. She injures a lot of people,
She hurts a lot of people. That's actually
but they
true.
keep her around.
You know what? Yeah, because she's a member of the family.
Snuka's daughter, right?
No. She's a
Isn't
cousin
she
to Rome.
Jimmy Snuka's daughter?
No. Snuka's had two daughters, Tamina and somebody else.
Tamina was the one. Yeah, not Nia.
Yeah, no. She is related
Nia
to
Jax is
that
Samoan, part
to
of
the
the Samoan
Anoya.
family.
She's half Samoan, half German.
But she's part of the Samoan wrestling family though.
Famous Anoya,
And
yeah,
NOI, what Yokozuna and The Rock,
they're all
Roman
related.
Reigns,
Rikishi
Rikishi, yeah.
and Peter Maivia,
The
Samoan
High Chief Peter Maivia.
Maivia is the grandfather.
You hear that? You hear
Yeah.
the screaming?
Cyrene.
Do you hear the screaming in the background?
Oh, those are people?
Yeah, they're having like a fucking party over there.
Sounds like spring break going on. Yeah, so getting back to Nia Jax, you know when she was in Perth, Australia, she didn't clear the monitors off the announcer table, and she slammed. She had to go to the hospital.
She's still
Rhea
doing
Ripley
it. She's been doing this
got
for
hurt.
years.
She slammed her on top of the monitors. Nia Jax
Slammed who? Liv Morgan?
slammed. No, she slammed Rhea Ripley
Oh.
on the announcer table without clearing the monitors off.
She
And
sucks,
Rhea
man.
Ripley,
Why are they keeping her around for it?
Rhea Ripley had to go to the hospital.
This has happened so many times.
She's hurt other people.
A lot of people. I've seen like a compilation video on YouTube of like 10 different women that she's hurt over the years.
Yeah.
She's very sloppy.
Yeah, I think one of them was Sasha Banks. I got her from her. She's tall, Nia Jax, too. It looks like it.
I mean, I guess she has a good look because she's big and fat.
She is a pretty woman. I mean, you gotta give her.
She has a
credit.
pretty face, but that's about it.
She does have a pretty face, but she's really
But
big. She's
her body, I
tall.
guess. I mean, if you look at it, it's like a dominating looking body. But I mean, if she's hurting people like that, that's not right, man. If that was a man doing that to other men, they would have fired him. You know?
And you know what? Other wrestlers would refuse to work with that
Right,
person.
right.
If that person had a reputation for hurting people, like what's his name? Ryback was known to hurt people.
Was he?
Ryback hurt CM Punk, and CM Punk was really pissed off. He's sloppy. He's not following protocol. You know, he just you can't do that because all it takes is one slip up, and you could paralyze
She threw
somebody.
this woman on top of computer monitors on her back. And that's the first thing that they do when they do a move on the table is they take all the shit off. Like, how could she not even know that? You know?
She's not that stupid.
You think she did it on
She's
purpose?
not that- she did it on purpose because maybe she knew that was her home country crowd.
She's gotta
and
go. She's gotta
and
go.
she had to look. and
It's
she
not
had
her
to
home
look good.
country. It's Australia.
No, I'm talking about Rhea. She had a
Oh,
kowtow.
Rhea Ripley's from Australia.
Rhea Ripley because they wanted Rhea Ripley to look really good in Perth, Australia, and she was pissed because she knew that the belt was not going to change hands, and she probably did it on purpose because
Maybe The Rock is letting her stick around. Like he's sticking up for
you
her.
know, freaking she had to be on a plane for a long time to fly to friggin' Perth, Australia, and not to come back with the belt. So she was
All right, James. I guess.
all right, Chief. I'm gonna go.
Hi, Chief
All right.
James.
Thank you for Daryl Messias, Masumi, Commodore Jeff Sambell, and Ronnie S.
See you next week.
And I'll see you next
Week.
same bat time, same bat channel.